Hello, folks. Welcome here. My name is Beowulf. This is Alpha X. And, man, we got a series for you today from EPT Cup 108, the Grand Finals. It is Clem and it is Reynor. But before we get into that, of course, I would like to remind you to like, comment, subscribe, do all of these things. Really helps us out with channel growth, allows us to keep producing content like this. And if you want to get access to some top-tier replays, support events like Brawlers Club, make sure to go check us out on Patreon. Link is in the description below, but now we should probably introduce our players. And in the bottom right, in the blue, he is the reigning world champion, Reynor. And his illustrious opponent in the upper left, the best Terran in Europe, he is from Team Liquid, Clem. So, of course, here, this is the EPT Cup. That means it is a best of 5. That means winner walks away with $200. Loser walks away with $100. And there are no EPT Cup points up for grabs. Not now, because, folks, Katowice is in less than 3 weeks. Although, actually, it's exactly 3 weeks as this is being recorded. Katowice round of 36 is on Wednesday, February 23rd. It is currently Wednesday, February 2nd. So, hey, them's the math. But regardless here, both players had a rather smooth route to the finals. We saw Clem. He 3-0'd Max Packs in, from what I hear, rather dominating fashion. Reynor 3-1 Hero Marine, which isn't all that surprising outside of the fact that this is an EPT Cup, and therefore Hero Marine always wins. Although, of course, Hero Marine recently falling down, losing that top spot as the greatest EPT Cup player, as Zest has overtaken him, and Zest taking 2 victories here in EPT Cup 108, both Korea and North America. Well, he's only continuing to grow, only continuing to expand that lead further, especially as Hero Marine does not take a cup this week. Not that it really matters, but, you know, it's a fun thing to track, certainly. So in this game, number 1 here, nothing too crazy is happening just yet. I mean, we got the Reaper, but you know about the Reaper. I know about the Reaper. It's actually funny, a couple months ago, someone went and did an analysis of the Reaper interactions at the start of games for, I think, specifically the GSL. And it was like 80% of the time, nothing dies. And of that remaining 20%, 15%, one Zergling dies, like 3% a drone dies, and 2% the Reaper dies. Something, you know, vanishingly small. Which I thought was kind of interesting. Anyway, the Reaper will find its way on in now, but and nice job on the grenade, but it's a little bit too early. Ideally, you drop the grenade and the drone is in the air right as you're about to get the second to last shot, so you can get both shots off before it lands on the ground, before it turns into a spore, and then you kill it. But that is really hard to do. We almost never see it happen, and it kind of is a happy accident more than anything else. So no harm, no foul there. We're all good. So for now, you know, Clem, he's just going to be a little active on the map. He's not too many Hellions yet, but he's going to get up there. And Reaper Hellion is going to be the tech path of choice. This really has been the gold standard Terran opener over the last almost a year at this point. But it's kind of interesting because we are starting to see Zerg adaptation to the dominance of the 3cc Hellion Banshee style. Because, well, you know, Hellion map control is nice. Adding those Banshees really does slow down the tech of the Zerg. It slows down, or the tech of the Terran slows down how many Marines they get out in the early game. Slows down their stim, their 1-1. So what that means, by slowing all that tech down, it means that theoretically a Zerg can go for a somewhat quick spire, flood mutas across the map, and then pin the Terran. We don't always see this happen, but it is kind of one of the punishes of of Hellion Banshee play. But it looks like Reynor, yeah, he's not going for a quick layer, so nothing too crazy like that. Wouldn't be crazy, but we're not going to see Muta play, at least not really quick Muta play. And Clem, of course, he's doing a great job. Creep spread through the middle of the map. Reynor's doing a really good job of maintaining that. Nothing more than that. And the important thing is the creep spread outside of the third base of Reynor here is not all that developed. Is Clem intent on opening up that attack path for him, making sure that he can siege up on the high ground and the low ground, making life intensely difficult for the Zerg player? Well, that is his primary focus right now. You know, he could drop scans here and clear away creep, and we might even see him do it. But again, it's the pushing path that's what matters. It's this path onto the high ground that allows you to siege up 2 or 3 tanks and just be very, very happy indeed. And certainly, you know, the Hellions are going to be able to deny creep for a time, but the question at this point is how much damage can Clem get done? He's got two Banshees. They, of course, one-shot workers, and there are some nice high ground, low ground positions that Clem can look to abuse, like he right here, right now. And actually, the Hellions dart forward means that the Queens, well, they're going to be out of position for a second, which means 3 workers, they're going to die. That's just going to be bad. That maybe, oh, he's actually going to get a couple more here because, you know, the layer's not done. So really the only detection is the spores, and actually that spore is more of an anti-liberator spore than it is an anti-banshee spore for right now. So 9 total drones go down, and Clem finding significant value. Oh, he's going to get more. He's going to get more. Clem, you dog. You do not get 10 drones in this matchup. Not easily. Not often. So Clem now, he has his third base. He has succeeded in pushing the Zerg back. He's actually... Oh, no, the Queen's not going to go down. But still damage on it, forcing a transfuse. Transfuses are not creep. Clem has succeeded at least in slowing down Reynor's economy. Yeah, Reynor's at 74 workers and is still in a really nice economic spot, but it's 74 workers and it is less army. So now Clem getting ready to be active on the map here. His armory is done, which means these are Hellbats. 1-1 is done in 10 seconds. And the first true push of the game kicking off here for Clem. He tries to bust down the 4th base of Reynor. Really cut into that economy. Banelings are not yet done, but here they are right now. So Clem splitting for his life, splitting for this push, this very opportunity. And all of the Banelings, they will fail. The Zerglings are not going to get much done, just a couple Hellbats, and that is not what you want here. So while this base will not die any longer, I do not think he's going to get on top of these workers. 8 more workers go down, and actually the target fire from Clem is going to be incredible here. All the Banelings go down. Clem's army is still alive. The Zerglings are not getting anywhere near what they want. And Clem is going to force Reynor off of this base. Continuous reinforcements are going to keep the base alive, but that was damn expensive. Damn expensive for the Zerg player. And the push commences. It continues in earnest. The next round and the next round of the Terran bio continues to stream on into Reynor's base. He's up 20 army supply. He has that upgrade advantage even still. The Queens are starting to run out of transfused energy, making this competition, this fight even more difficult. The target fire again from Clem off of creep here is so gosh darn good. Only 1 Baneley remains, no connection, but Clem will kill one of his medevacs. Okay. Unfortunate. You don't want to kill your medevac, but even still, this push is fantastic here. And Clem has managed to wedge himself into this foothold where there is no creep. It's really only the creep from the hatchery, but the Zergling run by, Zergling flank, it's going to do something. It will force Clem back for now as he says, oh, well, you know, I probably should get rid of this creep that is threatening my third base. That seems like an important thing to do. 2-2 on the way for Reynor, but Clem, again, he has his just a little bit faster. The flip side, though, is while this is not an 8-rack, so we do not see a 4th base on the way just yet. Oh, I'm sorry, never mind. It's floating over. The Zerglings are going to go for a big counterattack here, but the army of Clem, gone are the days, for the most part, of these big rally pushes. 4M running across the map, say innovation style. Terran players have kind of learned, as have Zergs, that when the Terran player gets aggressive, the Zerg is going to flood 20, 30. Oh, that's a big Widow Mine. But the Zerg player is going to flood 20, 30 links across the map on an alternate attack route and try to find their way into the natural, try to find their way into the third, and just shut down the push of the Terran. So Terran says, okay, well, I'm not going to rally across the map. I'm going to have big clumps of units. my army at home and my army abroad. Then it's big enough and I feel comfortable enough and I have a next set coming out. I'm going to run all my army across the map at once here, as the Banelings will not find their connections. But Widowmine's not really burrowed yet, and Clem is going to split backwards for now. A lot of the Banelings do go down, but we're going to have to see the top side of the map. That is what is important here. Clem, he's just buying time right now, but he's not going to get anything on the other side of the map either. Well done, Reynor, making sure that he stays alive, making sure that he has Banelings in both locations, although trading 2 Banelings for a Marauder is not exactly what you want to do. And quietly behind this, Clem has built himself a 50 supply lead. He's up 3 workers, and he's up a whole lot of armies. He puts stims into the 3rd base once again, but there are plenty of Banelings here. His pressure on the 4th base, not quite as useful, not quite as fortuitous as he would like. But what we're waiting on, really, is for him to just bring his army together, bring that massive amount of bio sitting at home into one clump that is going to be able to punch into Reynor's 4th, punch into his 3rd, and cause problems. The other benefit, by the way, is eventually this push on the north side gets cleaned up, is by Clem's positioning here, he has not been allowing Reynor to take his 5th base. Now he's going to. We got to drop a Widowmine drop, excuse me, into that 3rd base. And actually, the drones are going to get pulled immediately into the drop here, so Clem is going to find some significant value. As on the other side of the map as well, pushing in once again. There should be enough Banelings to clean this up. But Clem, he's just everywhere at once. This drop on the north side has not been cleaned up, so even still, the hot pickup is going to knock down so much of everything here. The Banshee, actually the MVP of this fight, just knocking down the rest of it, although I guess really that MVP still does go to the Widowmines. But Clem has what he needs now. The 3rd base position, at least the 3rd base defense for the moment, it has been broken. Clem is going to find his way, and he's going to get some damage on everything, but not enough. The hatchery stays alive. Clem's push, though, it also stays alive. And again, we're just waiting for that army. We're just waiting for that army to run across the map here, because Clem has far more in his army than what he is showing right here, or in these, the Widowmines off this side. As that Banshee will eventually fall. Poor Banshee. Okay, so now again, Clem, he's just the small trades that he's getting are so useful, and of course he's going to get the 5th base. That is the big thing in all this. This pressure on the south side that Clem is just periodically engaging into. It's making it so hard for Reynor to figure out where he needs to be, because so much of his army has to be here defending. And actually, Reynor, he's built himself up a fairly significant bank. Only being on 4 hatcheries is kind of a problem. We don't see any macro hatches, and he has not been able to get that 5th base, but those are going to be some really good Baneling connections, of course, balanced out only by the connections of the Widowmines, making everything that Reynor just got kind of invalidated, because he traded like 15 Banelings to make that happen. Lurkers have now hit the field, of course, and they do have burst speed coming out soon. This push becomes more complicated for Clem now. Oh, there we go, the push on the right side. Yeah, okay, the north side will finally get cleaned up. Lots of lings. You can see that it's 2-2 versus 3-3 because the Marauders were just not dying. But there we go. Here comes the army of Clem. Actually, in all honesty, it could be bigger, but I guess it's because he's up 18 workers over the Zerg and taking like 3 bases at once. We're going to have to see whether he can knock these Lurkers down. Scan gets dropped, and there is no support army here. Nothing to buffer for the Lurkers. Zerglings come in just a little bit too little, too late. The base goes down. Half the Lurker count goes down. So many of these Zerglings go down as well, and this is not the type of fight that Reynor has been looking for. Trading a base for a little bit of the Terran army, losing 5-6 Lurkers in the exchange, not what you're looking for. And it's just so expensive. Reynor has spent double. He has spent double the amount of workers, or amount of money that his opponent has. Or he's lost double the amount of army, of resources that his opponent has at this point. The Lurkers now, they do have burrow speed. And that is going to be something that is in their favor here, as now more and more Lurkers are going to go down, because again, the Banelings, they're just not buffering well enough. Not with 2-2 versus 3-3. And now we got the army of Reynor going to go in, and it looks like he will be able to clean up for now the push of Clem. But that is the push that has done its job already. It has distracted Reynor. It has knocked off some Lurkers. It has killed the 3rd base. It is not the push that is supposed to win the game. GG, Clem knocks down the 5th, and he takes this game number 1. And we saw game number 1 go the way of the young Frenchman in a long, drawn-out macro game that in all fairness kind of felt like a game where Reynor is clawing and scratching and biting for his life, and Clem just ever the boa constrictor, ratcheting in notch after notch after notch, and eventually Reynor ran out of breath. His bones crunched. The pressure was too much and he was forced to tap out. But not before playing an excellent game. Going down as he did early on, losing so much damage around the 4th base, losing 10 workers to the Banshees and then like another 10 to the push on the 4th. And the fact that he took that to like 15 minutes, that's pretty impressive. Especially against the man who at times has had the best TVZ in the world. I don't think that is currently true. I mean, Maru is just too good. It's not even a question in my mind. You have Rogue. On it, I don't know who beats Maru consistently. Rogue did it once in the the final GSL Super tournament of last year. I think that's what the tournament was. Dark has done it like once in the last year. Cyril won a best of 3 or a best of 5. But Maru has killed all these players like time and time again. I guess we have WTL to go on as well, where Rogue 2-0'd Maru before Maru 2-0'd Rogue, and Dark won as well. But that was a weird situation because Maru had to win 8 maps in a row. And winning 8 maps in a row is difficult. To say the least. I don't care if you're the best player in the world. Winning 8 maps in a row against the likes of Zest, Rogue, Dark, and, well, Zest, Rogue, and Dark, and Cure is a little bit difficult. Solo un pequeño. Yeah, we're just going to have to see how much better Reynor can do in this game, too. Like, once he was able to kind of stabilize, he started to do well. Started to make it very difficult for Reynor to, do any, or for Clem to do anything. But again, when he was stable in a losing position, not stable in an even position, not stable in a winning position. And I don't care how good you are. That is a hard situation to come back from. And on top of that, he was not able to get any sort of damage in, no run bys. Because he felt like he was just under too much pressure. So it looks like Clem, he's going to go for the same idea that he did in that game number 1. 1-1-1, Hellion Banshee. You know the story. We've told it before. 3rd base coming down rather quickly behind that. A macro build. This is hardwire, so you're not going to do anything super aggressive. It's a long map. Well, it's a long map. The slight twist we might see to this, although Clem is not really a purveyor of that style, is mech. It's something that has really been increasing in popularity, both on ladder and in like the Pro Terran community. I've been talking to a couple of them, and there's some chatter. But also on a map like Hardwire, Bio feels a little bit difficult, from what I hear. But mech is pretty strong on this map. Pretty strong on every map but Glittering Ashes, actually. So that may be something we see. I don't think so. We're just going to have to keep an eye on the gases at the natural, really, to tell us. But also, it's Clem. So I think I have seen him play mech once in my entire life, and it was on a previous map pool, the last map pool, on Lightshade, when Lightshade first released. And I was like, wow, this is a really good map for mech. And it was. And then Terrans decided that they just didn't want to play mech anyways. So the Hellions, actually, they're going to dive into the natural here, saying, hey, Reynor, I don't think you have enough to stop this. And the Zerglings are all going to go down, and it's 4 Hellions that remain. But there we go. We got the quick wall going again. So Clem finds the other side, trying to line up these drones as much as he can. 3 workers die immediately, and there's a Clem right there. Clem, how many does he get? He's going to be 6. It's going to be 8. It's going to be 10. It's going to be 11. And that is worthwhile indeed. That's a trade for the ages. Clem, he does the same. Oh, and he's got a Banshee in the 3rd, too. Clem does this thing that he did. Actually, he does it even better than he did in that last game. He puts Reynor so heavily on his heels that he's caught flat-footed. There's not a lot that Reynor can do right now. Oh, the transfuse, though, is kind of sexy. There's not a lot that Reynor can do right now until he has detection. He can do spore cancels and things like that. But 14 workers right now that's a lot. When Reynor is not at 50 workers yet. Not at 60 workers. I mean, his economy, 14 workers that's 25% of Reynor's economy. More that he just lost in that push. Which means that this buys Clem so much time to establish his third base, to get his upgrades up, to build a big army, while Reynor is just furiously hitting that drone button. And of course, when we talk about Zerg, we need to remember that, well, say a Terran can build SCVs and build Marines at the same time if they have the money for it. A Zerg is constrained by their larva. Larva builds everything. So Reynor is going to be spending all of his larva on drones and none of it on Zerglings and eventually, into banelings and all that. Which of course does mean that Clem, when this push happens, it's going to be much more powerful, like what we saw in that last game where he was able to break into the fourth base and kill off a couple more workers, deny so much energy from the queens, eventually kill a couple. But here's the interesting thing. Reynor, he's not going for the triangular fourth, the position just south of where we're looking right now, but instead, he's going to take the slightly more exposed position in the left side, which is an interesting one because, of course, low ground is kind of annoying. The Terran bio can stem beneath that. But on the flip side, it means your creep gets really pushed far forward. It's a little bit more core. Banshee, though, they're still finding value. 5-6 workers will go to these Banshees. One Banshee has 8 kills, another with 12 kills on these Banshees, all workers, is so much more than you ever expect to get. As one Banshee will finally go down because, they got to run past some queens. But 12 worker kills with 2 Banshees on top of the 10, 11 worker kills that the Hellions got is just dynamite. The Marines are going to drop low ground, high ground here, try to just, play around with that position where they can fire from every side and only deal with some of the army. But the Queens are in a good position. We see the medevacs get targeted down. Clem's not going to get too much out of that, but he will remove some creep around the left side, which is where he's eventually going to want to push into with tanks and with Marines. Siege up on the low ground side of that fourth base, start shelling it away, force Reynor to react in some way, and go from there. 1-1 is done for Clem now. Other big things to talk about. 1-1 halfway done for Reynor. So this timing for Clem is similar to what we were getting, or what we got, in that last game, where we saw Clem go and get all aggressive and absolutely punish the Zerg player for just not having the upgrades that they need. Now Zerglings are going to find a tank. That's going to be really nice. They're actually friendly fire doing more to kill that tank than the Zerglings are for now. But again, the 1-1 bio is going to clean up the rest of this. Zerglings don't get any workers. They just shut down a tank, which is really useful, don't get me wrong. But it does not do much to generate economic parity. As a nice target fire there from Clem. Will get the one single defensive bailing, and Clem, of course, taking this opportunity, never in any one position at the given time. He's got to push into the fourth or the third base now. 3 more workers go down. Clem just taking a page out of Thorzane's book in this game number 2. Not killing Reynor, but just taking spoonfuls out of him. Playing the game of death by 1,000 paper cuts. And also, it's also because it's actually really hard for the Terran to just kind of like push across the map just because of how long it is and just the positions you run through. It's open to surrounds. It's rather long. But Clem's going to get a nice little gift here as Reynor attempts to take his 5th base. And while the bio's right there, looks like it's going to be right in the proper position. Yeah, he's just going to be able to target fire that one down. No kill, just a cancel, and the drone doesn't die either because there's enough defensive forces. And actually, I really love this from Reynor, too. As he has, of course, gone and dropped like 3 spores in the main. It's something that we've been seeing kind of more and more often. Just, hey, look, I'm willing to trade 5-6 workers worth of stuff to get some spores in the main and just make it so much more difficult for the Terran to push into there in a positional game such as this one, where the Zerg is kind of forced to be in 2 very different positions at the same time. Now, nice initial aggression here from Reynor. He's going to be able to clear off a lot of this army, knock down a decent amount of those Widow Mines, or at least force them to go on cooldown, not trade too much for it. and get some damage on the tank, which all of this means is while Clem is still positioning up here, Reynor is in a better position to clean everything up when he gets his lings done, when he gets his banelings done. He has that full surround ready. Because that's what he's going to be looking for. And of course, we got a Hydra Den going down. Hive, all this fun stuff, but hold that thought because Reynor right here, right now, is going to go for the bust. Baneling's going to come filtering on in. The tank goes down. And that appears to be all that Reynor was looking for right now. But Clem says, oh, yeah, you just spent a lot of banelings on that one. Widowmines are going to get decent shots. Nice splits for Reynor for now. And Clem just micring back onto creep. And the great split at the end. All the Widowmines go down. The bio is still there. But the Widowmines, the positional units, for now they're dead. But we got 5-6 more Widowmines on the way. Clem pushing on the right side as well. Ghost hitting the field with a couple Liberators. Clem is honestly maybe even a little early to this Ghost count. Because the Lurkers, they're not even started yet. Lurker Den, only just a little bit of the way done. Clem's a little bit further ahead than he thinks he is. Okay, well, there we go. We got the push on the left side. Things we were talking about where you just kind of siege up the low ground position, although it looks like Clem instead just wants to stim into the third base, drawing the entire army of Reynor to the south side, to the east side. And that means he's just going to be able to target this base down. Stim for the win, Clem. There's not enough transfuses here. Not quite. There we go. The hot pickup. Not too much bio died. Clem gets a base. Although it looks like he lost a lot of his army on the right side of the map, and that's going to be something at least. Clem doesn't want to, or Reynor doesn't want to trade Clem's army for his economy, but it could be worse. As again, Clem stims in, but at this point, there are too many lings, too many banelings here. Clem is going to be forced to pick up, go home, or at least not go home, go on the edge of creep, and just wait for that next push to happen. It should be noted that Reynor now, he has Lurkers on the way. He is getting Seismic Spine, so he's going to play a little bit more positional defensive force now. He's not going to play a game where he tries to go and burrow on top of things. Instead, Lurkers get burrowed up here, but Clem is going to stim in once again, and again, thrice now. He will be denied, but actually, no, he's not. Not at all. Clem says, okay, well, you pushed me off, but let's feint back a little bit. I'm going to get your base. All your base belong to me. So we have a 4-base Zerg, and, well, actually a 5, soon to be 6-base Terran here. Clem, he's maxed out. We're not seeing the insane supply differentials we saw in game number 1, but again, this is a game where Reynor has not been able to leave his creep for the majority of this game. No run-bys have happened. This game is existing as that is a massive friendly fire shot on that Widowmine. This gives Reynor an opportunity to push Clem really far away from his creep, knock down an entire army, but Medivacs at the end of the day will be there. No Hydra's target fire it down. It does still force this army on the right side of Clem to be really, really far back. And of course, with the Lurkers here, with their range, it does make the push. It does at the very least slow things down. Zerglings come crashing in here as well. Widowmines are going to be fantastic again. Reynor's just a little bit slow on the split. But the army is forced to pick up in the Medivacs and now forced back. So Reynor, he will be able to clean up for now, even though he does want some detection to deal with these Widowmines. And just the random Lurkers, 2 Lurkers in a main army fight, they don't make a big difference. 2 Lurkers off to the side where a Terran maybe has shift A moved their army into something. Well, that's a different story. That is something that can absolutely find value. Okay, but again, Clem, he's pushing into this 4th base location that Reynor has, again, he's held for this for the entire game. Lurkers are going to burr up once again, but Clem is starting to hit that ghost count. 12 ghosts are on the field, and that's the point where things start getting scary, when it just becomes so hard for Lurkers to do anything, as now we have the army filtering on in. Widowmines are going to be good, and there are still that remain. Ghosts are going to get the snipes off on a couple of these Lurkers, but no, the ghost burrow, and there is no scan. So for now, Clem will be forced back just a little bit. But that was a big engagement for Reynor. He needs to go back. He needs to get more banelings. And Clem says, you don't get to do that here. The scan gets dropped. The snipes go down. Some of them will get canceled. But more and more Lurkers are starting to die here. And most importantly, the creep spread is gone. Clem has this really nice position where Reynor can't quite dislodge him from. Not yet. Lurkers are continuing to fall. Clem now nursing a 50 army supply lead. We got a scan once again. The last of these Lurkers, they're going to get target fire down. They're going to go down here. Actually, the one on the left, no, it's going to be alive for the moment. Actually, both survive. Hey, burst speed's a good upgrade. But that was just a temporary call. Now the Lurkers are dead. Actually, none on the field right now. Only 4 Hydras. They got to take the fight because, well, Reynor needs everything possible. The Lings, the Banes, they come spilling on in. But no. Clem says, you don't get to do that. I have too much stuff here. My ghost will stay alive. My army's going to stay alive. And this is your death here, Reynor, in this game number 2. He's trying to make the fight happen, and it is not successful. GG Clem. He goes up 2-0. And now we find ourselves on game number 3. Arguably the best map for Terran of the 3. Although, of course, it does have a wide open third base position. You know, that does make life a little difficult there for the Terran to defend their third, to deal with the run-bys. There are 2 or 3 discrete attack paths that one can take advantage of. You know, there's the one on the south side here with the Xel'Naga Tower north side, and then you can kind of and then you can push to the middle, and if you're really in good map control as the Zerg, you can knock down the rocks in the middle and then just really stream in. On the flip side, it's a really short rush distance. And there is this nice kind of siege deposition you can take outside of this third, and then siege deposition outside of the rocks outside of this third, depending on which one Reynor decides to take. So it's kind of this interesting map where you can kind of see benefits for both sides, but it does feel like it is slightly Terran favored in the current meta, just a little bit because of the size of it. Point being, Clem took the maps that were supposed to be Reynor advantaged, or at least even, and now he's got a map that is going to be slightly in his favor. So we're gonna have to see whether he can 3-0 it, or whether Reynor can grasp some of that sublimity that he has had before and go and make this a series. Take it to 2 games, take it to 3 games, take it to 4 games. Actually, I guess technically we are in game 3 right now, but take it to 4 games. Take it to 5 games. That would be very nice indeed. But for now, the Romans would say nil novi sub soli. Nothing new under the sun. I mean, it's early game TVZ, so I don't know what you're really expecting. But Clem, if I was to hazard a guess, he's going to go for the same style he's played in the last 2 games. It's worked for him. He's found so much value with the Banshees in the early game, with the Hellions actually in that last game. But in general, just he's been able to slow Reynor down significantly, which means it's interesting that we almost saw an eBay cancel there instead of a Spore cancel. I mean, I guess they cost the same, so it just takes up more space. So, I don't know. Don't know why Reynor attempted to do that one. And eBay in the mineral line is more likely to get canceled than a Spore is. Just they get canceled by the drones, going back and forth, than a Spore is. Probably a misclick. Anyway, we got Hellions on the way. We're going to see a starport on the way as well. So Hellion Banshee folks shouldn't be too surprising. And yeah, they're okay. There we go. There's the tech lab as well. Reynor first part, he's going to take the triangular third. Again, not all that surprising. It allows you to get so much creep. Ooh, and Reynor's going to get his second Ling, though. Okay, well, go off, Reaper. That's 50 minerals. It's a lot more than a Reaper normally gets in a game. But as Reynor takes this third base position, what this means is he has creep spread at the scary push position. This is something that we started to see Zerg players do a lot in the last map pool. Oh, but Hellions are going to dive in. Now, they don't one-shot drones, so the damage potential here is not as high as it might otherwise be, but Reynor recognizing, or Clem recognizing that all of the Zerglings have gone down, means he's going to get 6 workers here. And that, oh man. Reynor just really weak to early game pressure in this series. 2 Hellions and a Reaper should never kill 6 workers. And Reynor's supply blocked because he's got that scouting overlord in the main, which died. And yes, he's got overlords on the way, but that means he can't build any more Zerglings, although he does have 8 out, so that should be fine because it's only 4 Hellions for now. And actually, this is interesting. I said, yeah, Hellion Banshee, Hellion Banshee, Hellion Banshee. No. We got a Liberator coming out from Clem in this game number 3, which means his tech is just a little bit faster. Means he's not sacrificing tech timing for other tech timing effectively, which will speed up his push just slightly. And that's going to be fantastic considering the fact that, hey, he just killed 6 workers with 2 Reapers or 2 Hellions and a Reaper at a timing where Reynor didn't even have 30 workers. Massive moves there for the Terran. And we're going to have to see how Reynor responds to this, because it feels like he's just kind of getting caught taking damage early, then not having enough larvae to build enough units, and then just kind of dying. Now, the Hellions won't be able to dive in too far because their Zergling speed is done, and creep is done with these queens as well. It becomes difficult. So their judgment, or their task now is no longer, well, I'm going to kill a lot of workers, although Reynor very paranoid of that. It is to contain the creep, around the Zerg's third base. It is to make it difficult for Reynor to really start to establish a foothold on that north side of the map, north side of the base that he wants to, and actually it looks like he will be successful in, because that's the position that Clem wants to push through. That is the position that Clem wants to put damage onto that third base. The Viking will go down, and nice transfuse keeps the Overlord just barely alive. Liberator, well, actually, Liberator's going to get a free queen. That's nice, and that is also very annoying there for the Zerg. It looks like the last of the Hellions, or most of them, will die here, and that is going to be that. Less map control for Clem for now. And also technically less damage, but I think on the balance of things, it's just about equal, actually, considering the fact that, well, those were 6 workers killed very, very early, like 3 minutes in, whereas the 10, 12 workers that Clem got in that last game were killed a minute later. So Reynor in this game number 3. He's gone for a much quicker lair. He's gone for very quick baling speed, but significantly delayed upgrades. So yes, he should be able to more easily hold the push from Clem, because baling speed is a thing. You don't really need upgrades because you have splash. On the flip side, it's going to be so hard for the Banelings to really make contact whatsoever, and Clem's going to have a really powerful 1-1-2-2 and 3-3 timing, assuming that upgrades happen as they should. Now we have Clem getting active on the map here with an army without medevacs, unsupported, without combat shields as well. So he spent a lot of money in things that are not at all useful right now. But what he's doing, he's securing the Xel'Naga. He's making it so that he can start pushing through this location. Medevacs coming up behind as Reynor, he takes the position near the Xel'Naga. The more pushable position, well, maybe. Certainly a position that Terran likes to push through, even if his third base is not quite in the spot to do that, as the queen will go down here. Clem is going to stim on in, but of course baling speed is done, which does mean that it's a lot harder to push in on creep against the Zerg player. But even still, Clem, his target fire is fantastic. Zerglings are going to filter on in from behind, getting on top of these Hellions, and that is going to be that for now. Clem will get forced back, but he's going to get a couple more banelings on the trade. And again, TVZ, it's not about one big fight. Sometimes it is, but more often than not, it's about the spoonfuls of Zerg that hope the medicine go down. Already Clem doubling up the resources lost of Reynor in this game. His 1-1 is done, so he has that timing where he has all of the upgrades that he has been researching and trying to buy. He has all of them. I guess 2-2's on the way now, but stim, combat shields, 1-1. His army is so much more powerful for the cost than what his opponent has. So again, though, he's going to keep pushing out here, trying to maintain that position and trying to snipe as many queens as he can, which shuts down so much of the defensive utility that Reynor does have. Now Clem getting forward once again, but the banelings arrive, which means Clem is forced to back up here, and Reynor has done a very good job of his creep spread. This is something that honestly he's been very successful with this entire series, even in the games that he has lost, where, I mean, the creep spread is encroaching on the Terran's third at this point. Part of this is Clem is much more focused on a straight linear push, on pushing down the Zerg's fourth base, which means that there's less creep on that north side. But even still, I mean, look at this creep on the left. Clem is now starting to realize he has to deal with it, but it's going to take him forever to try to push in through anywhere other than wherever he is right now. But again, there's not nearly as much creep there. Banelings are going to come filtering on in, though. The tanks, they're not sieged. Not enough Widow Mines either. So yeah, Clem is going to be forced back once again. And this is Reynor's best game by far in this series. He is really not taking nearly the amount of damage, although the 6 workers early was a big problem, but he's doing a much better job of keeping the Terran away from him. He's doing a much better job of preventing the damage that Clem continually got in those last couple games. Yeah, he lost the workers early, but he didn't have any pressure on his 4th base, really. He didn't lose a bunch of workers there. He will come in trouble with this 5th because the Banelings are not yet ready. Not really, but they're going to get on top. Even as the Widowmines do a great job and knock down a lot of it. But for now, yeah, there should be enough Ling, enough Bane that Clem's going to be forced to pick up on both sides. There we go. Good splits on the last of the Widowmines. So, yeah, again, if we compare this game to the previous... Oh, that friendly fire there on the Widowmine. So many Marines died. I think he got a medevac as well. Traitor Widowmines indeed. And there we go. I love to see this. Burrow was completed in this game. Reynor gets it most games, but he doesn't always go for burrowed Widowmines. But in this one, Widowmine's just on the edge of creep. Of course, Clem, he scans there. You know, not where the burrowed Widowmines are. At the least, it's going to be a flanking Widowmine Baneling position. At the most, well, you unburrow on top of the army and so much dies. Anyway, Clem's going to push on in now. Not a lot of Banelings here, actually. Not ready. And any sort of surround is going to run into a massive Widowmine field. So Clem is very confident in taking this fight. Actually, he knocks them all down. The Banelings, they die as well here. All the Lings are dead as well. And there's going to be another one. But the target fire again from Clem, absolutely exemplary. And we're talking about this game as Reynor. He has his Hydras on the way. His Hive is done. Lurker Den just about done. It's looking good for the Italian Stallion. But then Clem does something like that and just really cements his pushing position on the 4th base. And then it's like, well, this is getting scary here for Reynor. He's down so much supply. The Lings are going to spew in once again, but not a lot of oh, no Banelings there anymore. Widowmines are going to get exactly what they need. Queen's off creep as well. This 5th base is under significant threat here as Clem comes spilling on in. He had Reynor convinced that the push was on the north side, but actually, no, it's on the south. This 5th base, Reynor, he realized that it's under significant threat. The Widowmines are going to be good. And there we go. Clem, he's got pushed on both sides. Is he going to get this 4th base? No, it looks like for now, well, there's going to be enough there to pick off. Yeah, these 2 Marines are not going to get enough. But the push on the south side, that's what's really important. Because Clem now, he has made it so he only has to focus on one side of the map. A couple Hydras are going to go down as well. Lurkers will have the burrow, which means Clem can't keep pushing any further. Not really. Yeah, he's going to be forced to back up. But now this means that Clem only has to push on the north side. And actually, he's going to get 2 bases in the span of 30 seconds. It's a 3rd base Zerg against a 4, soon to be 5 base Terran. Up 40 supply. Clem, he has his 3-3 on the way. The Lurkers only just barely out now, and it's not a lot of them. They don't have their upgrades. In the blink of an eye, we're talking about how good this was for Reynor, and Clem is he's turning up another notch here. Getting the 4th and the 5th base at the same time is just disastrous for the Zerg player. He's not mining nearly as much as he would like, and yeah, you can turtle on Hydraling Bane all you want. It is probably the most cost-effective Zerg style. But still it's double here. Nice Baneling connections, though. Okay, looks like Lurker run by. This is where this is actually something that really differentiates the good Zergs from the great Zergs. In that the good Zergs, you know, they're going to play defensively and they're going to have their Lurkers. Oh, that's unfortunate. Again, the good Zergs, they're going to have their Lurkers and they're going to play defensively and get good surrounds and win the game that way. The great Zergs know how to use Lurkers all over the map. Aggressive Lurkers, defensive Lurkers, in the middle Lurkers. This is Clem now stimming on in. A random Cyclone. That has to have been a misclick. But anyway, the Ghosts are going to get a lot of snipes off here. 2 Lurkers go down. 3rd one gets very low. The Widowmines are going to knock out some of these Banelings. The rest of the Banelings not really going to get the connections they look for because Clem, he owns the high ground. And with 1 Lurker remaining to anchor this defense, this is a problem. 11 workers going down as well to this Liberator. So Reynor, he is taking a massive push in his face, and he's losing so much economy on the backside as well. He's down 15 workers. Yes, that is 15 workers. Good, I didn't do the math wrong. He's down 15 workers. He's down bases. Life becoming very complicated here for the Zerg player. He has to find some way to be cost effective, but he can't afford the units that allow him to be cost effective. He cannot afford Vipers. He cannot afford, say, +1 ranged upgrades for the Lurkers. That's not going to be a thing. It's all on building this army to keep himself alive for the next minute. He cannot play for the next hour here. As again, well, he's going to take a good fight on the left side. A lot of the banelings will make their connections. Lurkers are going to burrow up, and the Ghosts can't really get their snipes off just yet. But Clem, he's fighting a running battle here. Now all the banelings are gone, and Clem says, well, now's my time to move in. Now's my time to boot you out of this game, out of this map, out of this tournament. Liquid Clem, 3-0 Reynor here. EPT Cup Grand Finals number 108.